Before I start today's theory, I have to apologize for the lack of theories lately. I've just had a really tough chapter in my life and hadn't had any motivation to do any research or any bigger projects. But now I've finally gotten back to my feet, or so I hope I am, and it's time to get back to work. This time we're not talking about what has happened in the past, nor are we talking about what will happen in the future. No. This time we are talking about something new. This time we are talking about what almost happened, and you better believe we were lucky that it didn't happen. I'd almost call the person we are talking about here Rumia 2.0. Why? Well, let's find out. Okay, straight to the point. Let me tell you about who we are talking about today. Yuuka is simply called Susan. Who? I can hear being asked. Well, I don't blame you. Most of the people don't even know that there is a character in Touhou franchise named Susan. But what if I said medicine? Medicine melancholy. Aha, now we're getting somewhere. Yep, this very forgettable duo is actually getting its own video. But why? It's not like they're anything special. Yes, you're right. At least by themselves. But let's not proceed too fast. First of all, let us take a closer look at this duo. Now please name which one is which. Which one is Susan and which is medicine? Most of you would expectedly say that the bigger is medicine and that small one is Susan. Good guess, but wrong. What if I told you that Susan is the bigger one and medicine is the smaller one? This may first sound weird, but I have proof here. In POFW's medicine story, medicine is constantly talking about how Susan has gotten really strong this year. Quote, "With this much of Susan's power, I might be able to make more allies." But here's the question. If medicine was the bigger one, why would she be talking about how Susan, the smaller one, is being so powerful? In the end, we play and defeat our enemies as the bigger one, after all. This is how I see the truth is. Medicine is that smaller one who is controlling Susan, who is the bigger one. And when the bigger one is talking, it is actually medicine talking through that bigger one. That's why she is constantly praising how Susan, the bigger one, has gotten stronger and stronger. Medicine isn't fighting herself, instead she is using Susan as her weapon. I don't know if Susan has a mind of her own, but I'd assume that she has at least some sort of consciousness. But at least we know which one of them is which now. And now some background info about medicine before we move on to the actual theory. First of all, medicine isn't your average Yuukai. She is a doll Yuukai that has developed its own consciousness. Technically, she could be called Chukumogami, but because her specific race isn't told, we can't say for sure what that she is. But if she was Chukumogami, it would be much easier to explain why she is in two parts. I mean, why Susan and medicine are separate. I think that Susan is the real body, and medicine is the living consciousness that is controlling the main body. This is hard to explain, but I'm doing my best to explain it. Think her as a normal Tsukumogami, who just lived for so long that it has created so developed mind that the doll which the Susan is can't contain the living mind, and it has to create a separate body for itself. Or at least something like that. It is complicated, I know, but I hope I managed to explain it well enough. Anyhow, medicine is also known to be really hostile towards humans, because when she still was just a doll, she was abandoned to a field of flowers, and now she wants to take revenge on humans and release the dolls from their slavery as tools. In the other words, she just wants to kill all the humans. And what if I told you that she hasn't been too far away from reaching her goal a few years ago? She once tried to spread poison across the human village, but luckily she failed. But even so, she came really close in succeeding just by herself. If she were to have allies, she could actually be a threat to be feared for the human village. So basically, medicine could just by herself cause a lot of havoc. But now, what if I told you that only few years ago we had an incident that could have caused a full-on war across against Gensokyo, and the only reason why it didn't happen was the fact that medicine wasn't involved. In 2014 we had the Miracle Mullet incident, and that could have offered medicine the allegiance that she needs. Think about it, the Miracle Mullet incident was all about making weaker Yuuka stronger. Yuuka like Wakasakihime became really strong out of nowhere, and top of that, many tools used by people became Tsukumogami, and their owners became very Yuuka-like. For instance, Marisa and her mini Hakero. Medicine isn't too strong, and she has her tool, Susan. She matches perfectly to the category of Yuuka that would be affected the most. I can't say how much power she would have gained, but let's put it into a perspective. Raiko was just a simple drum, and yet she gained enough power to become an extra stage boss. If all that power would have gone for medicine instead of Raiko, well, Seiya and her rebellion would have not been crushed so easily. Think about it. If Shinmyomaru had gotten medicine to her side, the whole Gensokyo would have turned into Warsaw, center of it all being the human village. When gaining allies and more power, she would surely attack the humans of Gensokyo, but that would turn Yukari and many other strong Yuuka against medicine, because Yuuka really can't exist without humans. You remember when we talked about Rumia in one of our recent theories. This would be the same kind of Rumia incident all over again. I'm not going into details how the possible war would go, but the consequences if medicine had sided with Seiya and Shinmyomaru could have been catastrophic. And I'm not joking here. Medicine's targets are humans, and that includes Reimu too. It is possible that medicine could bring down the Hakure barrier by accident, but because we don't know what it would require to bring it down, we can't say for sure that it could be possible, because in the end the possibilities with these kinds of speculations are endless. Luckily, the Miracle Mallet's influence didn't reach the Garden of the Sun, where medicine is occupied. But if it did, then it would be a whole other story. But now we can just sigh for relief, for we barely dodged a bullet. But if medicine could that easily become a threat for the whole Gensokyo, I can't even imagine what are the possibilities with other not so popular characters. And there you have it, a really scary scenario about how close we actually came to a civil war of Gensokyo. I mentioned that I won't go into details about how the war would go, but if you want, I could do a video giving my thoughts on how it would go and who would be against who. But that's up to you to decide if you want it or not. But anyhow, this has been my theory about how dangerous medicine actually is. But like always, it is up to you to decide if this is believable or not. And even if you think that this could be the case, you still have to remember that this isn't canon and this is just a theory. But who knows, maybe this will actually turn out to be true. But for now, I have to bid you a farewell. My name is Touhou, and we'll see you in the next video.